You are now entering the box. All right, Bailey, Nick, what's going on?
Hey.
How's it going?
Welcome to Inside the Box.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you.
How you guys doing today?
Doing real good.
Good. It's Friday.
Yeah, Fridays, baby. What we got going on today?
Let
the people know what we've came to speak about here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on my day off, but we're
nice.
any opportunity to talk about Rise Springfield, man, I'll take it.
Rise.
So.
Yeah. The new Young Professionals Networking Group. You guys probably have seen a couple things here and there about it. So
yeah,
you've been to some of our events, which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, give a quick little spiel about it.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so as Bailey said, we're the Young Professionals Networking Group in Springfield. We're kind of underneath the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce, geared towards folks in their 20s and 30s that are trying to meet people, make some business contacts, or even some of them social contacts. But we started back in February after about a year of planning. We kicked off Rise Springfield with our first event. Over at Home Plate, we had 200 and some people there, and got a ton of good
I
feedback.
didn't make it over there, but it looked like it was packed.
Yeah, it was crazy. Definitely too packed. We certainly
we had food
too
and
packed.
No one knew it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
No one knew we had food. We definitely went over the occupancy limit.
How'd they not know?
I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that.
Was it just somewhere else?
The back room at Home Plate?
Yeah.
So they had the garage door down, obviously, since it was like a private event. They had food on that table. You could not get across the room.
Oh, right. So it was like just too many people were blocking it when it was over there.
Yeah.
So it's funny because they're like, we never refired the pizzas and stuff or any of it. And we're like, hey, that worked out.
That's funny.
But we've learned that we're not eaters at our group.
Yeah, we've kind of dialed back the food quite a bit just because, we're 5 events in now.
Yeah. We're big talkers, don't have time.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it in.
Yeah.
How did this come about?
So I think everybody has their own reason for, why they've joined it and supported it. But the way that it was created, at least from my point of view, when I was in a group pretty similar when I lived in Indianapolis. It was, city, I didn't know anybody, moved there for work, was really focused on work, spent way too much of my time at work. And then joined a young professionals group out there and made some friends really quick. So when I decided I was going to move back to Springfield, I reached out to a couple people trying to figure out what other organizations were here in town that are similar to the one I was a part of and some others that I was a part of in Indianapolis. Found out we didn't have anything here. So, I didn't necessarily intend on starting a group. But that's kind of what ended up happening. So Amy Beadle is the person that I talked to first. She said, I think Springfield really needs this. If you were willing to, get it started, I can introduce you to some people. And the first person she introduced me to was Bailey. So
nice.
Aside from knowing that we needed it, there was no planning done at that point. So when Bailey and I had lunch or coffee for the first time, we sat down and we basically put together what it could look like, and it ended up being almost pretty spot on. So then built the team out from there. But it's kind of the origin story.
Yeah, and I would say what's also funny about that is, 10 years ago, you and I both worked at Shields.
Yeah.
In different departments.
Yep.
Really would cross paths, but didn't really know much about each other. But Amy Beadle worked there as the events manager at the time.
Yep.
For Shields.
Yeah, because I remember when she worked there. She hired us, or she hired a photo booth, rented a photo booth from me years ago while she worked there.
Nice. Yeah. So she had worked there, and so within a week or two of when she had sat down with Nick, I had reached out to her separately and was like, hey, is there any type of networking group or group for young business owners or young business professionals? I want to meet more young people that are around here. I had just moved back from DC a year or so prior, and
so you both had moved away,
right,
and came back.
Yeah, pretty similar timelines too.
Nice.
Yeah, but our story is a little different on that because you left and always wanted to come back, or always felt like you could.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely love Springfield more than the average person. So it was something that was kind of always on my radar that, if I could come back, I would.
And see, I was a kid that's like, I grew up in Chatham. I was like, get me out of Springfield. Like, I'm never coming back. And now I'm like, I love this city. Give me all the T-shirts. So.
Give me all the T-shirts.
Well, I think when I moved away, I thought that might give me some, because I already like Springfield quite a bit. And I figured if I move away, maybe I'll find something better. Mm-hmm. And I never quite... It almost just re-solidified the fact that I liked it here, So
sometimes you need that.
Yeah. Lived in Champaign for a few years, then lived in Indianapolis for a few more, and between those two cities, fantastic cities. I would live there again, either place. But it's like I'm not really missing much by not being home. So why not?
I always thought I was going to move away. Like I planned on it when I got out of college. I was working at Ace Sign Company. I was like, all right, 5 years experience on the resume. I could probably pretty much get a job anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That seemed, when I would look, that seems like that's what everybody wanted was like 5 years experience.
Right.
But in the midst of that, I met my now wife, and my dad got sick with cancer. And then my sister moved back because he was sick too. And then my wife's family is like super embedded here. They have, there's like, I don't know, there's a shitload of them.
They're everywhere.
And then like in that, like when my dad passed away, I started Ootbox, and then I got involved with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. That was before Amy worked there.
Okay.
I just... Like I had lived here forever, but I didn't know everything that went on here.
Right.
It was so weird. Yeah. And then when I got involved with them, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff going on in Springfield.
Isn't it cool when you actually learn more about it? You're like, I wanted to leave. Yeah. Like, why? Like, I love it here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And then the other thing is I had a ton of friends that moved away.
Yeah.
But they would always vacation back here. You know what I mean? And I just knew how expensive it was everywhere else too.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want to spend my vacations coming back here. Like, I'd rather go see things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my studio apartment in DC was 544 square feet and costs more than my mortgage on my 2,000 square foot house right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, man. I was like, I wanted to live there.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
And that was my sister. She lived in Chicago for 10 years. And my brother lives out in Seattle. And, my friends out in Colorado. And just all these places that I would, like, want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn, that's expensive.
Yeah.
It's fun to visit. Definitely fun to visit.
Yeah, and you got cheap places to stay, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
You got lots of friends, lots of places. That's good.
Crash on your floor.
Yeah.
Let you pay
the rent. And that's the other thing with Rise, too, is, like, we understand that there are obviously a ton of other people that are going to do exactly what we did, or they're going to not be from here and they're going to move here for work or for whatever reason.
And that's a weird thing. I've thought about that before, like moving away and not knowing anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how do you, going to meet new people is just kind of weird. Like at the bar, like, what's going on, man?
Right? Yeah.
And like trying to meet another guy, you know what I mean, or another girl. It's just kind of a weird thing, I think.
Yeah. You've got to almost. I mean, what's worked for me is you got to find people that are into similar things to you, whether it be like a sports team or whatever. But Indianapolis, I was very focused on career development more than anything else at that point. And I needed to find other people that were doing the same thing, and the group that I was a part of.
Like-minded people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like-minded people at similar stages of their career, so immediately we had a ton in common, right? So we could build from there. So I think that's the only way to do it. If you're
I like that too, because it's like, I don't know what the old saying is or whatever, but you're basically like the same as like what is it, like 5 or people you hang out with the most or whatever you surround yourself with at the most.
You're like a combination of it.
Yeah, so just meeting other people that are motivated in business, whatever.
Right.
Like it's nice to have those people to talk to and learn from and stuff like that. I know when I first started Ootbox and joined the chamber, it was, I'm a very outgoing person. I don't mind, like, you know what I mean, going up and talking to people. And it was still like going to chamber events. It was like kind of awkward.
Yeah.
If you don't really know anybody, and then everyone has their little groups, and it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
Well, that's how it was for me too, and that kind of expedited the thinking on getting Rise started. Was man, if there's got to be a better way to do this for people that are in a similar career stage to me or a similar age to me, and this was the easiest way to do it because I had the same experience, and I think maybe I was a little naive when I came back to town, thinking that I would walk into a room at a chamber event and know a bunch of people, because
Right.
I felt like I did still have a lot of, friends or, former coworkers, whatever, that I would run into. And yeah, I didn't know anybody. So, I've heard that feedback a ton, and we do a really good job, I think, on our team trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Had a hard time at that kickoff event because it was really
So
hard to
packed.
move around the room.
Oh,
You did a
gosh.
much better job than I did.
It's all those
How
years
many
of
people do you think were
hospitality.
there?
225-ish.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah,
Right?
because I mean, I had coworkers and stuff. They're like, "Oh, we came to support you. We just didn't even go to the sign-in table or check-in or anything."
Yeah, 200.
That's fine.
Yeah, 200 checked in, but we just
That's amazing.
yeah, we just estimated that there was at least another, I don't know, 10, 15%
Yeah,
on top
yeah.
of that.
But back to
So.
your point about going to an event and just wanting to like meet people, right? There's so many people at our Rise events that are nervous and just like, I'm not an extroverted person. Like we're all three at this table very outgoing. We would make friends with every stranger. But there's so many people at our events that are like a little nervous or just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. But people at Rise, it's not even just our committee. It's like a person over here will see someone standing by themselves. They're like, hey, come join us.
Right.
Which is really nice to be able
Yeah.
to see too. And I've loved hearing like the relationships that are formed already.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, I've gone out to coffee with this person. They've been helping me polish up my resume and things like that, which is
great.
really cool.
How many events have you had so far?
5.
Yeah.
5. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got 5 more scheduled this year? Events.
What do you
So-
try to do? Like one a month or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we alternate our more social events between morning events and evening events every month. So our last one was a morning event with a speaker. So that's another thing. So at our morning events, we'll have coffee and there'll be some networking opportunities. But we also try to tag on an educational piece to those morning events. So we'll get a speaker. We had Steve Thomas for our first event.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the first event I made it
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you were at
but,
that one.
But it was funny because the stuff that Steve was saying,
Uh-huh.
I like just kind of stuck with me a little bit. I just related to it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the ebbs and flows of
Right.
stuff,
Yeah.
and you'd have these major peaks
Mhm.
and then lows, and
Yep.
yeah, it's dealing with that with just people and business
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yes.
I was like, man, this is.
Mhm.
I was like, I like what this guy's talking about.
Yeah. I liked
Yeah.
how he said it too. You can have it in like in business being one aspect, but like in your relationships being like a different spot. Like you
Yeah.
can be peaked in one area and plateaued in another. And it's like that's perfectly normal. And I just like we're trying to just even out the curve so that way it's not so many like big ups and downs. with
Right.
it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I love that. And I was, I don't remember what was going on, but I was dealing with some stuff. You know what I mean? It was like that for me.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is really good. But
Right.
over here, I was
Yeah.
like, man, no,
Yeah.
this is really hitting home on some of the stuff he's saying.
The best
Yeah.
part of that whole thing, and hopefully he doesn't mind me saying this, but when he walked in that morning, I've listened to him talk a few times, and I don't remember who it was, but somebody and I were standing at the front table and said good morning to him, and I asked him what he was going to speak on, and he was like, I don't know yet. It's like, you don't know yet? You're going to just get up there and wing it? And he did such a fantastic
Yeah.
job. But that, I think for him, he was going to stand up there or walk around before it got started, kind of read the
Feel
room and try to
people
figure
out.
out who was
Yeah.
who was there before because he does that for a living, so he's
Yeah.
got a few different talks probably stored up there that he doesn't have to
Yeah.
have written down or anything. But that just blew my mind that he walked in and said, I don't know what I'm gonna say.
And he's just so relaxed as a speaker too.
Yeah.
It's more engaging.
Well, if he's confident and
Yeah.
knows his stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely does.
I did this year. I've done 2 keynotes, and the first one I like overly prepared for,
Mhm.
and when I did it, everybody still came up and was like, "Oh, it was so good," and like told me
Yeah.
how great it was. But I filmed it. When I watched it back, I was like, "Oh man, that wasn't very good." I can't believe everybody told
I'm
me
sure
how
you're
good it
being
was.
very harsh on yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot of like me saying
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't think about it, but you're like
I do that all the
you know what I
time.
mean?
Yeah.
It's so or
I've learned that with the podcast.
yeah,
Doing
sure.
doing my podcast, I've learned that I need to stop saying so much.
So then the second time I did it, which was a bigger crowd, a bigger event,
Mhm.
I like outlined it with just like
Yeah.
words, like main points.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just ran through that instead of like the first one I like wrote out a whole
Yeah.
thing with all this
Yeah.
stuff I wanted to say. but then the second one, I just kind of had some key points.
Right.
And one of my team was driving with me to Bloomington where it was. And he's like, so you probably practiced this all night last night, huh? And I was like, no. I was like, I just wrote these key points. And I was like, I decided not to practice at all.
Yeah.
I was like, I just got to rely on my knowledge of what I got and, you know, kind of know what I want to say. And I felt like I knocked it out of the park. You know what I mean? I felt way better about it, and it was easier, and I just talked more natural and was able to interact with the crowd more, so I wasn't thinking as much about my script or whatever. It was great.
Yeah, that's how I have to
kind
do
of
it
interesting.
too. This is probably a stupid question, but what dictates whether a speech is a keynote speech or not? It's just like
I actually have no idea.
The main one? The last speaker?
Well, I think anything where they have you come to speak to a crowd, I would consider a keynote.
Okay.
If they're having you speak on something.
Yeah.
You know, if you're giving I don't know.
I got asked to make
I consider them the same.
I got asked to make a keynote speech one time for a leadership class.
So you just said a keynote speech.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But, yeah. Well, I know, but when I was done with it, they called it a keynote speech, and I was like, it was only like 15 minutes, and it was for like a leadership development class at the last bank I worked for, and I was speaking as a graduate for the next class that was coming in, but it was like 15 minutes, and it wasn't, I don't know. It was very small portion of the total presentation, so I was like, I don't know if I would have considered that a keynote.
I have no idea.
A keynote speech is delivered to set the theme for an event. So,
Oh, there you go.
main theme of
I'd say that's pretty subjective. So
Set the theme.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to take it.
you've given.
I'd
a keynote.
count it.
I've given.
I'd count it.
Sweet. Nailed it. I'm putting it on my resume
There
as
you
soon as I
go.
leave here.
I just do sales presentations. No one really wants to pay me for those.
You start calling those keynotes,
I
and
should.
yeah.
I would like to give you a keynote presentation.
You know, I'm going to change everything about my sales process. Be like, can I give you a keynote?
This word gets so freely used.
Yeah.
No, it was cool though. It was fun. It was what was the group? It was the Independent Insurance Agents of Illinois. It was
Cool.
long, whatever it was. Independent Insurance Agents of Illinois.
Nice.
Neat.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
You're on our radar for speakers for Rise events too, just so you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
We'll call it a keynote even for
keynote.
keynote
Preview.
you. Yes.
because one of the things that we want to touch on at some point is like personal branding or just branding in general.
Mhm.
How to market, whether it's your business or yourself, which I think you've already given a speech on that before, but that's kind of your bread and butter. So
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I consider them really the same, especially
Yeah.
when you're in all honesty, even if you're not the owner, like you just got to become known as the person.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what I told. That's
Yep.
what one of the things I hit on in the
Yep.
in the talk. I'm
Mhm.
like, you got to be the person.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do that with Rise. Honestly, I mean that's part of this us being here. That's part of us doing as much of the work that we're doing. And going to as many places as we're going is we're trying to, and the other people on our team are trying to become the person for whatever their
Yeah.
group is or
Yeah.
their circle is. So, and I think you're right. I think that's the way to do it.
Probably
'cause-
what I'd call it.
Yeah.
If I was talking about it, become the person.
Yeah.
So how, if someone wants to join Rise, do they just join the chamber and then come out to Rise? How's that work?
Yeah, so as of now, it's just open to the public.
Okay.
We don't have any fee structure for our events. They're completely free. We're really blessed to be able to have sponsors that end up either donating space or donating food or donating coffee. We operate on a zero budget model. Everything is done by sponsors. So our goal with that is to limit as many barriers to entry as possible
That's
for people
great.
that are
Yeah.
interested in coming to our
Especially
events.
younger people.
Yeah.
Them spending $400 a year or something.
Yeah.
Tough for them.
Right. And that might change over time, depending on.
You could do like a donation thing. maybe.
Sure. Yeah. It could look a little
Not a bad
different.
thought.
Yeah. It could look a little different later, but our goal is to, have as many people be able to come to our events as possible, and what it will end up doing is be, somewhat of a feeder program for the chamber as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
So at that first event, did you guys do how do you how are you guys, obviously I'm a marketing person.
Yeah.
Thinking about this, how are you staying in community? I mean, that was a lot of people that came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have them sign up for email or anything like
Yeah.
that? Nice.
We do have an email list that Caitlin Coltis from Visit Springfield. She's the one who does all the design and stuff for that.
Cool.
And then the chamber sends it out just through their program. So
Nice.
we don't have an actual like active membership list just because one, we don't have a fee structure for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And two, we're still in the first year. I mean, really just past the 6-month mark. So
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm on the board of the
Salsa.
Salsa, and it's like, it's crazy how much everybody does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's- So I mean, since you guys aren't paid, I assume everything's all volunteer for
Oh, yeah.
you guys too.
Yep.
And it's just
Yeah.
it's a lot to take on when you have a career you're trying to do.
For
and
sure.
So
Yeah.
it's cool you guys do it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like
It's a lot of
Salsa,
fun.
we have a really awesome team.
Right.
Yeah.
How many people do you?
8.
I know Taylor was on here, and
Yeah.
she
Yep.
said she helps, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So there's 8 of you.
There's
Yeah.
8 of us. Yep. So she mentioned Caitlin Coltis. You said Taylor Stevens with Synergy Home Care. We've got Dakota Greer over at KEB, Wes Lunt with Troxel, Bailey and I, and then we added CJ Baker from CMT. So
And Rachel Savaggio.
and Rachel Savaggio from the
Nice.
Illinois Bankers Association. So in each of us, our roles kind of change. I'm sure it's the same on Silsa where we have different, chairs listed as our title on the committee, but we really do a little bit of
team up
everything.
Yeah. Wherever we need the help, people step up. So
And we'll
Yeah.
probably grow that team, at least a couple more, somewhere between 10 and 12 will make sense just as we split up some of the things that we're
Yeah.
working on.
Yeah.
like those monthly events they're a blast. And obviously you guys put together events for Silsa, but it's a lot of work to do all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So being able to have a couple more people help manage some of those details
sure.
helps free us up to actually
Right.
go out there and talk
And
more about it.
we don't even do that many. Like we had the extra one the other night.
Yeah,
That was
that
an
was
extra
so
one. That's
good.
like above like what we normally do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, that was tough. We had Stephanie Stuckey, and then literally a couple
Right.
weeks later,
Yeah.
we had Austin Hatch, and
Uh-huh.
it was like trying to promote both of them. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you also don't want people to feel like you're spamming them,
Right.
with
Right.
stuff and emails and stuff.
Yeah.
But
And I would also say on that is email is how people can stay engaged with what we're doing, but also just LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah, socials.
We put all of our events up on there
Right.
too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what we got coming up? Anything soon?
July 12th, we have Brant. We're doing Tess Vialka is coming out to do a speech
Cool.
on your inner critic. So
Yeah. We did that. That was awesome. Were
Yeah.
you guys there? for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, we
right.
ended
were
up in the same
together,
group.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to come do a modified version of that
Nice.
for the young professionals, which is going to be really good.
Yeah, so it'll be another breakfast event. That'll be a good one, and then before that we've got. So we haven't really covered this yet. So there's 3 arms, if you will, of Rise. We've got the networking piece. So that's all these events we're talking about, the social events. We've got the educational piece with the speakers at the morning events, and then we have a volunteer initiatives as well that come up throughout the year. Those aren't necessarily scheduled a year in advance or anything. It's just kind of as they come up. We partner with the United Way. This year we're partnering with the Memorial Health Championship.
Nice.
So we're putting together a team of volunteers for that. So that's starts on June 29th.
Perfect.
Through July 20 or through
second.
July 2nd.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't remember how many volunteers we
Have you been out to
need.
that?
No, it's my first time. I'm pretty
You've
pumped.
been out there? Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to the LRS.
Yeah,
You guys
I helped
you
with-
guys got the whole section over there.
Yes. So, but we're actually helping staff the J&J tent, and then they have
Perfect.
a extension for Quick Wall. So
Nice.
we're looking for 30 volunteers. So if you're interested, sign up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They gave
Yeah,
us a
that's fun.
really good gig, and we'll be
Kate's
scanning
awesome.
and yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
Although she beat me in ping pong when she was here last time. I'm not happy about that.
She has
A
a
little
ping pong
salty, I
table
see.
over there
I
at her
know.
office,
She
so it
brought her
doesn't
paddle.
spread.
Last time she was here before that, I beat her. She's like, I'm bringing my paddle next
That's
time.
awesome.
I was like, damn it.
Yeah, you guys,
So now
you
I
guys
gotta-
should just
now I
have a
gotta get her
series
back
going.
over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Best of
Well,
3.
they had a Panther Creek did a league. And
Yeah.
she tried to get me to sign up for it, and I was like,
A
man,
ping
I
pong
can't.
league?
Yeah, it was like
That's
a little.
intense.
a ping pong league.
Yeah, and I think that's where it was.
Does she practice? Is she a trained professional in ping pong?
She just likes it. She just plays. Yeah. They
mean,
have
if
a
I
table at their place.
You have one in your office too. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't play it. I'm not
Step
good
it
at it.
up.
I go to the pool instead.
There you go. No, I'd do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd
You
be
guys
my
got the
move, too.
setup over there. My brother worked
Yeah.
there a long time ago.
Have
I
you seen
remember-
it since it's been renovated?
No, I went there like as a kid with him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Pretty
Yeah.
not a kid, but pretty young, high school. I think it's high school. Yeah, probably high school.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know businesses did this.
Me either.
Yeah. I feel like every time I'm there, they're recruiting me. Like, I feel like I need to work here.
Yeah, they had I don't know how it's changed, but they had they got the pool, like the racquetball
Yep, the 2 racquetball courts.
with like, isn't there a basketball hoop in there too?
Yep, and one of them that's also like doubles as the yoga class room.
Okay, yeah. And then there was like a track around the whole thing, right?
Banks
Yep.
are so lame. So lame. We
You
just
should
got
work in
vaults.
technology.
Yeah.
Go hang out in the vault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the money, man. The money's supposed to motivate you.
Right. Yeah.
Just walk in and walk out.
Yep.
No, I think places are changing though too, because
True.
they're trying to get talent, recruit, and keep talent.
Mhm.
And a lot
Yeah.
of people, those little things like that are big incentives to people.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I looked at when I was trying to find a building, I really wanted a basketball court because
That would be awesome.
we almost bought the old Rail Splitters place on North Street.
Oh, okay.
By Miles T-shirts right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And wasn't able to work out a deal on that.
Yeah.
And then signed the papers on this,
Mhm.
and then it came back to me on that, and I was like, ugh. I already signed the papers over here, but part of me was kind of like, damn it, because there was definitely enough room for a basketball court
You would
in
have had no problem there.
there.
You know, you may need 2 buildings one day. You just never
Yeah.
know.
There you go.
And we talked to Josh about the slip and slide out front already, so
That'd
you
be
have
great.
space for a slip
We have
and
a pretty
slide.
big parking lot in the
Yeah.
back. Might put something back.
There you go.
We were just going way off topic over here.
That's all right.
No, I'm just
That's
joking.
all right, man.
I'm just joking. No, well, that's cool. Do you do the volunteer thing?
Yeah.
So were you about to say you had one coming up though? Oh wait, the memorial.
Yeah,
Health
yeah,
is
yeah.
what
Yep,
you mentioned.
yep,
yeah.
yep. So we're putting a roster together there. We did we partner, like I said, with United Way. So we do the Day of Action, which is twice a year. We just did one. We did some landscaping over at the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
cool.
lot of
Cool
fun.
building.
So yeah, we had a team of people from Rise, both committee members and just members
Yeah.
Yeah,
out there.
that's
That
awesome.
was fun. And then our next event after Brant
We're going to
is-
have a golf skills camp.
How far are you planning these out?
So we're playing
Do you try to?
essentially through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We've tried to do it at least 6 months in advance,
That's
and
good.
then we are already working on 2024, which is great.
Yeah.
So, but in July is going to be a lot of fun because it starts off with the golf tournament volunteer opportunity. Then we've got Brant. Then we have a baseball game.
Oh, yeah, with SSGA.
Yeah, the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance is sponsoring a baseball game over at the Shoe Stadium Wednesday, July 19th at 6:30. So up to 100 people to take over that party deck in right field.
Yeah.
That's going to be a blast.
So is it an
Um,
actual shoes game
Yeah.
going on?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good time. I think it's all you can eat food as a part of that too, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You just got to buy your own beer, but
I know. I was I was talking to them about something and doing something with 217 problems, and I was like, "How do we do all you can drink?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can't do that."
Probably a liability.
I was like, "Come on, there's got to be some way to work that out, doesn't there?" Buy a couple kegs or something.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not
Just run up a tab.
No go.
Yeah, just do that. It's the easiest way to do
And
it.
then rip up the ticket for me.
Yeah, right.
But I was trying to work something out just because I don't know. It just sounds better.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know? All you can eat's good though. But for some reason, I was like,
yeah.
I feel like with that situation, it would have been better to.
Yeah, I'm sure when we're out there, they will sell plenty of beer. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
sure that won't be a problem.
Yeah, I got hit yesterday.
Hmm?
Did you see that? The
Oh, yeah.
pitcher got hit by
Yeah.
the ball. Like
No.
first pitch, was it first pitch? Second pitch.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yikes.
He's okay though, right?
It's in stable condition, last I heard.
Right in the friggin' face.
Oh my!
That's
Did it like break bones? and
gone. They
everything?
stopped the game. He got he was unconscious, right?
They canceled the next game too.
Yeah,
Yeah, canceled it.
it's wild.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's wild. They got off to a hot start this year too. So that, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, they won the first couple games.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So hopefully they can, he's going to be okay and they can get their season back on track because they, like I said, they
Yeah.
started off really well.
Sucks. What was his name?
His last name's Cruz. Matt
Cruz. Yeah, that's right.
Matt Cruz, I believe.
Prayers from Matt Cruz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that's right.
Yeah.
I know it is Cruz though. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember there was something they said in a
Cruising,
post copy.
cruising to victory
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a sad thing to hear.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure,
funny.
for sure. Yeah. So,
That'll be fun though, partner with them. It's
Yeah.
good to get those those partner, like
Right.
cross
Yes.
promotes with people like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we kind of want to be able to do exactly that as we continue to grow. Is in a lot of people that'll be coming to that event might not have any idea what SSGA does, and they'll have an opportunity. And then they're actually hosting another event
I have
in
no
November.
idea what SSGA does.
Yeah. Well, just come.
So-
Is
come
that
out.
what it is?
Yeah.
SSG.
A. Yep.
A, okay.
Yep.
So the
Yeah.
best way to describe it, and I have to credit Nick with this because he's the one who said it, is you probably won't hear about them specifically a lot because what they do is shine the light back on everybody else.
Gotcha.
So they kind of highlight a lot of the economic development opportunities here in Springfield, but also they have a really cool program called, is it Thrive Allies? And what that is when you move to the area, there's a list of people on their website that you can read their bios and reach out to them. And I think you're listed on it as someone. It's like, hey, I work in banking. I'm just looking to grab coffee with someone. So I have a familiar face in town.
Right.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's
They
it
have
is
lots
kinda
of-
along
nice.
with the good then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to invite all of the people that are there on their Thrive Ally program, and then we'll invite all of our members, and
Yeah.
then there will be some intermingling there. We'll probably have some people that end up signing up for it because as soon as I heard about that program, I was like, this is right up my alley. So I got
Yeah.
signed up, I
Yeah.
think, the next day. But yeah, and that's like Bailey said, they're trying to, very similar to what Visit Springfield does. Visit Springfield is trying to attract tourists to come here, right? So they're not marketing to people in Springfield. They're
Right.
marketing to people outside of Springfield saying, come here. SSGA is doing that for businesses. They do a lot of other stuff too, but a big part of what they're doing is they're trying to convince larger businesses that they should move here and do business in Sangamon County.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they really partner with the medical district.
Right.
And then that, what's the event we went to that was at the Innovation Center? What was that called?
The city planning.
Yeah, the city planning. They're
Yeah.
really involved with that whole process too.
Yeah. Yeah. So they do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty fantastic team over there. They're huge fans of Rise. So, they were one of many companies that we went to or organizations that we went to and said, hey, do you want to sponsor an event? And the feedback was, yeah, we'd like to sponsor as many events as you want us to, or we'd like to sponsor more than just an event. What can we do? And
That's
usually
great.
the answer is, we'll get back to you. Or,
Let me figure it out.
yeah,
first.
yeah. Let's do this, and then please send some people to our events, and they've been doing that, and the
Yeah.
other companies have as well. So, yeah, it was good. It's a good partnership. They seem to get along with the chamber
Seems
really
like they
well too.
align.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
And I would say just talking to businesses too, like SSGA, the response has been overwhelmingly positive for Rise. Most people are like, what can we do for you guys? We're like, we feel bad. We're just sitting here with a bunch of asks. Like, can we do anything in return?
Right.
And the biggest question we get is recruiting or just small nuggets of employee development. And that's why the Rise and Shine events are kind of a fun one since
Yeah.
it's more than just networking.
Yeah.
You get to have those little nuggets Steve Thomas was able to talk about. So
And that's good because, I know one thing I really loved about Silsa was people are probably sick of me saying it, but I always liked it was kind of quality over quantity. But it was like you get the speaker, you get the knowledge
Yep.
from them, and then you have a little bit
Yeah.
of networking mixed in with it. And then we'll drip in a couple more networking focused events. But I just liked I don't know. I just like learning from people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
why I do this. I like
Right.
talking to people, hearing about, learning their story.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's got something.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could probably take away from having an hour-long conversation with them. So
Yeah.
oh yeah.
hearing from speakers and different people like that. And unless there's just stuff I don't know about, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of things that go on where it gives people opportunity to speak like that, So that's nice. You work that
Yeah,
in.
I think it's really easy to fall into a trap with an organization like Silsa or Rise. It's easy to fall into the trap of just being another thing for people to throw on their calendar, right? And you can really phone it in and still have enough people to have events. But if you can avoid that trap and
Right.
actually add some value, whether it be a speaker or one of our things is just we as a committee try to connect people at the events. That's, we don't have ambassadors, we are the ambassadors. So for us, we try to personally provide value too for somebody that shows up to our events. We try to say, hey, thank you, and this is how, we're going to show you that we appreciate you coming. So, I'm with you. I think that's something that we're striving for too, is the quantity, the quality over quantity. We definitely think it still makes sense for us, at least while we're new, to make sure that we stay in front of people a lot too.
Yeah,
so monthly
for sure.
events seems to be the kind of the sweet spot there. So it gives people enough time to be able to show up, and if you've got a reason that you miss one, you can always come back next month. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what it is. It's you don't want it to just be like, okay, we're just doing this.
Right.
And you're like, oh,
Yes.
we gotta get the
Yeah.
next one. It's like you're on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, how do you keep it fresh and keep providing
Yeah.
value?
We want
like
some
you
more
said.
purpose with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, and that's the thing is like it could, like you said, it's very easy to fall into that trap. You're just on the wheel and you're like, oh, we gotta get this
Yep.
next one set up. We gotta
Right.
get this next one set up.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, that's tough. That's tough to like think about too. Like, what are we gonna do with this one? What
Yeah,
can we
and
do
we
a little
we
different?
ran
How are
into
gonna
that
get it?
with June actually. We basically skipped June because we didn't because one of our events got rescheduled to July. We could have just said, oh, we can't miss June. We have to have something in June. We said, we're not going to rush an event just because we have an empty spot,
it, yeah.
right? So yeah, I think.
good.
We almost fell into that trap already.
Yeah.
So that's how easy it is, right?
One time's okay.
Yeah, right.
But you're totally right though. Like you would still want to stay in front of people
Yeah.
since you're so new and
Right.
you
Yeah.
have that,
Right.
that momentum.
Yeah, yeah. And we haven't received any feedback that we're doing too much, so that's
No.
good. Yeah. If anything, we've heard that we need to do more. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna dig our heels in and do exactly that.
I like the idea of thinking of like how to connect people
Yeah,
at
Yeah.
the events. Like
yeah. It's fun.
trying
You've
to
got to
think
have
of,
the
like,
right
a
people on your team.
structured way you could
Yeah.
do that more. You know what?
That's
I
also
didn't, I didn't make it to it, but the Chatham Chamber just did a speed networking.
Love
thing.
that idea. I saw that.
I
Yeah,
didn't make it. It was I think it was at O'Shea, maybe.
yeah. I saw those pictures. That is
Kind of an interesting thing.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
I don't know how they
It could
did
be
it.
really interesting. I would be curious to see how that.
They did it in groups of, it looked like 4 or 5 ish, as
Yeah.
opposed
That's what it
to
looked like,
one-on-one speed networking. But I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
Think of something fun to mix in there.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know what they did. You
The
could
only
reach
thing-
out to them. They got some pretty good momentum. Seems
Yeah,
like they
they-
got a lot of good.
I think
a lot
so
of people
too.
joining over
The only
there.
thing I would want to, you brought up, there's probably a way to structure, making those connections. I think there probably is, but doing it in a way that doesn't turn into, I don't know, like a point system or
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
don't do that. I
yeah,
hate that shit.
yeah. So something that's not forced.
Someone tried to get me to join some of those groups where it's like you're tracking stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
be responsible for
Right.
this.
Especially if you have a quality over quantity mindset.
Right.
It's when you start getting tracked on points. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't carry the same weight.
Yeah, so-
And, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, if you have people helping you, like,
Oh yeah.
recommendations to get
Sure.
points or whatever, but I'm so
Well,
busy. I
you'll
don't
get a
want that
mix, right?
pressure,
You'll get
man.
people
Yeah.
that are doing it because they actually are passionate about it and genuinely want to help, and then you'll get people that are just trying to
Yeah.
get the points
They're
because
like,
they're competitive.
hey,
and-
Bailey, I need you to take this
right?
card.
Yeah, exactly.
Got my points.
Exactly right. Yep. Yeah. So there's in our mindset on that. It's especially when we add somebody to our committee is just we want to find people that we think genuinely just want to help because they believe in what we're trying to do. And I think we've put a team together of people that are doing just that. And we've got a lot of people that are on. We've got a list of folks that want to do more. So maybe we will have ambassadors someday. I don't know. We'll see. If that makes sense. If we grow it, to that point. But for the most part, what we're going to do more of is just, lean on those people for their expertise. So if you've got somebody who's in marketing, like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. How do you feel about, this idea?
Yeah.
Help us structure this in a way that makes sense.
I wonder, like, I don't know, this is something random that came to my mind. I wonder, like, if, and again, I mean, obviously, like your first one, 220 people, there's no way you could do this. But like, as time goes on, like new people, like, I don't know if people would like say that or not. But it's like, all right, who's new here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, just say they are real quick, like who they're with or something. Is that too?
Yeah, I think
too schooly.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I think we could do that if we had more of a, I don't know, if like we've talked about doing like a lunch.
It
like
seems like it's like over here. It seems like a good idea, and over here I'm like, that seems kind of
yeah. It's tough because you I think it's human nature to want to add some rigid structure like that. But for the most part, I think at least the two of us, and I don't know, I definitely notice if I've never seen somebody at a Rise event before.
We seek them out almost immediately.
Yeah.
You can't get very far without talking
For
to one
sure.
of us.
Yeah. And hopefully our goal at some point, and we're going to focus on this a lot more in 2024, we're going to start going to businesses that aren't showing up to our events and just asking if they're interested in it, and if they are, kind of give them some information. So hopefully we'll get that email saying, hey, we're sending these people to your next event. Mm-hmm. Please, just say hi to them or whatever, because it can be intimidating, especially if you're not from here, never been to a networking event before. It's very, very intimidating. So for us, that's part of our goal is to take that anxiety away as best we can.
So I assume that they have you guys like on the Chamber's website, somewhere information.
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah.
Because I would think anybody fresh to business maybe would be, if they just moved here, they're probably aware of Chambers, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So they could find you.
Yeah, and I feel like our chamber, just researching other groups and stuff, just obviously I'm in a sales position, so I'm like, oh, what are other chambers in different areas doing that I could, kind of tap into their networks and start being a part of that. Our chamber does an exceptional job at their marketing and having a good website and having many events. There's a lot of chambers that I've looked at that are only doing like one event a quarter.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think our chamber really does a good job with that. So it's helped us get our brand and our name out there as a result too.
Yeah.
Right.
Which has been helpful.
It's definitely a much more active chamber than probably average. So, and I think that them being open to the idea of Rise shows that, they've got a pretty open mind at, making sure that they stay innovative, because it even
nice,
talk about traps, man.
It.
Chambers can fall into traps really quickly and all become the same pretty quick.
When Indianapolis, is that where you were? In DC? Were you guys a member of any chambers there or anything?
I was.
Was it like huge? I was thinking about this with big cities, and I'm like, man, if you're like a chamber in like a city, what do they have, multiple ones for like different areas?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do. And you really, what I found the best luck in was one, finding a young professionals networking group, but then finding kind of more like niche networking groups that weren't tied to the chamber, because the chamber was so big. And every event at the Indie Chamber was like our first event. It's like 200 people. And
that'd be a lot.
It really is. And
so I was wondering about. I'm like, man, I was thinking about just bigger cities. I'm like, they must be.
But even then,
you
still have the same problem that you and I ran into when we went to our first Springfield Chamber event, and probably you too, where it was like, how is this city? So. Yeah, how is this city so? How are these groups already formed? This is such a big city, but I had that same thing. So, young professionals group, and then I found some like entrepreneurial type networking groups. I was a part of one that did like a Shark Tank thing every month. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
It's called 1 Million Cups, which is a really, really cool idea.
Cups?
It's something, I forget the thinking behind it, but it has something to do with, it takes 1 million cups of coffee for a great idea to come to life or something like that.
Interesting.
I forget exactly.
Get some coffee going.
Yeah.
What if it's
fucking
espresso
do
and
this
not coffee?
today?
Yeah. We're gonna get there. Call the community. But so you definitely have to get more creative in places like that, because there is just a ton. There are a ton of networking groups.
I mean, I would say I can't speak to that for DC. I was in I worked in the hospitality industry.
Hmm.
So I typically was either working the event or I was working the hours that all that stuff took place. I was the person trying to make friends with people in a bar.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the only time I wasn't working.
Are you doing what were you doing?
So I
sales
actually
or-
worked in luxury hotels for a while.
Oh, okay.
That's how I went from here to Iowa State, out to LA, and then out to DC. So I was on both coasts doing that type of the work. And then I transitioned.
Wow, so you moved around quite a bit.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah. I think. I'm not sure.
And she
Get
still
back
likes
to you on that.
Springfield.
I know. And now I'm like, oh, this is
It's good to
home,
get some
maybe, because I
experience.
haven't
Yeah.
been.
I was lucky enough to travel quite a bit. Like, I mean, probably more than the normal person, at least. I feel like it still wasn't enough, you know what I mean? Before,
Yeah.
Right.
like,
Right.
settling down or whatever you want to say.
Uh-huh.
But, so it was cool getting to see, you know, my brother works for Microsoft, so going out there and seeing, like, Microsoft campus
Yeah.
and getting that exposure and what that's
Yeah.
like. And
That's cool.
just in Seattle in general. And then my sister was in Chicago for 10 years, so seeing, you know, spending quite a bit of time in Chicago and, you know, getting to go to Colorado and snowboard
Yeah.
and different things. And
It's cool to be able to live in a place and be more immersed than just visiting, though, too.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
the perspective
Yeah.
of it is definitely different. I will say it was a culture shock going from LA to DC and then back to here. It was like three
Yeah.
very different worlds. So
Yeah, that's when you live somewhere, you like really like learn it. And especially in bigger cities and stuff. Like I feel like there's probably so many cool spots that you just it's hard for you to really know about without living there.
yeah.
Now obviously social media I think has helped with that a little bit, but you know.
Yeah, it can't ever, fulfill that all the way. I get so excited when somebody tells me that they're going to Indianapolis, just because, I think most people do when they've lived in a place where it's like, all right, let me tell you some things that you're not going to find on
Yeah.
TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
And you need to go here, here, and here. I give people itineraries. I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
This will be the perfect trip to Indianapolis.
sure.
Have a blast.
Yeah, I like in Chicago, I remember my sister, like we went to some like it was just like this weird like underground like party type thing. You know, I say underground,
Like
it was
a
actually
speakeasy?
underground, but it was just like, it was like a party in a loft somewhere, but it was, it was like people that live in Chicago and
Yeah.
it was a big party and it was like, you ain't
that's
doing
cool.
this just coming up here
Yeah.
randomly. So- But just, getting embedded and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And,
Yeah.
right.
and then you really
Yep.
get a feel of like I'm always like I couldn't live in Chicago, it's way too busy and stuff. But then things like that, you're like, oh, it would be pretty cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Especially as like a creative person, there's so many
Right,
like creative
right.
minds
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there and stuff. I could see a part of me that would love being up
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? In that hustle. But
Hey, it's not a far train ride. So
Yeah.
you could always go
That's
for
true.
a couple days a week.
That's
but
true.
you don't get embedded, man. You don't
Yeah,
get embedded
yeah.
in the scene.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting how that works. I don't know. Is it like that in Springfield?
Yeah. I mean,
It's not as much secret stuff, I feel
No,
like. But there's
no.
like,
But if I try to do the same thing. I was just explaining with Indianapolis with Springfield too. I've met a lot of people that are here for just business every once in a while, or they're recent transplants to Springfield, and I get just excited to tell them a few things, at least like restaurants and
yeah.
things to do for fun. If you got a family or whatever, that stuff gets me excited too. But we don't have.
It's
as much to
weird
do.
though because Springfield's like it's like a small big city, but it's small enough to where like Visit Springfield does a great job of like
Oh, God, yeah.
outlining all the things you can do on the website or like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a little easier to kind of lay out all the main stuff. That's like
Yeah, you got to ask people, do you want to do the Lincoln stuff or not? Because
Which way are we
I'm gonna
going
give you two different.
do you want horseshoes
Right.
or not?
Yeah.
Right.
Which way are we leaning here?
But no, I mean, I would say that I feel like the more you become embedded in Springfield, the more love you have for it. Like I said, I lived out in two very different areas. You don't find nice people in a lot of those areas.
Right.
Like, I mean, you would go to DC. If you go from here to DC, you will have the door shut on you so many times
Yeah.
because people do not understand that one, they shouldn't run you over when they're driving, and then two, that they should hold the door open for the next person and not let them hit them. Right? It's like those things that it's like you don't have that culture in some of those bigger
Right.
cities.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty friendly friggin' city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. It definitely is.
It was it is funny though, like starting off like when I first started the boot box, like nobody really took me seriously on what I was doing. I mean,
Really?
part of that is because, social media was, it wasn't new at the time, but in our area, like focusing on
Yeah.
social
Right.
media was very, very pretty new
Yep.
from a business standpoint.
Right.
I don't know. It just took a while to like really like, people finally like, oh man, dude, really
Well,
fucking doing it.
And I feel like in this area, sometimes it's easy to be like a couple years behind.
Right.
So,
Oh,
Right.
for sure.
And, like-
which can be a positive thing. I mean, for me, it was.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The proof of concept period seems a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Where it's like people are like, I don't know if that's going to work or not. It's like,
Yeah.
well, he's been doing it for years, so I think, yeah, I
Must-
guess
Must be.
Yeah,
doing
I think
something
it's.
right.
they
Luckily, I had a couple businesses and people that I did videos for or whatever, but I did them for basically free or
Right.
very little money.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have a picture I just came across the other day. And it's my whiteboards. I turned my closet doors in my home office into whiteboards, and I was
Smart.
structuring
That's
out
cool.
my how I was going to charge.
Yeah.
And the cost that I had structured was so minuscule.
The
I was
margin's like 1%.
yeah, I was like, God, I wish I could live off of that little amount of money again. It's like per month $120 or something like that. Like, Jesus. But you got to
That'd be a
start
tough
off
gig.
and again get proof of concept
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
and then you kind of get that momentum from there. But it
I mean, we heard that with Rise even, as we first, we got a lot of, there was a group like this already that failed. It's like, okay, cool. Well, we're still going to do it.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Right,
So
yeah.
might
Yeah.
be mildly competitive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big part of it too. But, you
and
run
that's it. You just have to be willing to not quit.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It's
And
easy to get burnt out.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
we were talking about. It's
Yeah.
easy to get burnt out or
Yeah.
fall in that hamster wheel, and then
Right.
that really
Yeah.
burns you out. You're like, oh, the same thing over
Yeah.
and over.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where having a solid team comes in, though.
For
Because
sure.
if there's ever a day that it's like, and I don't feel like we've had that day yet.
No, but we will.
Yeah. Where
We
it's
haven't,
like,
but we
this
will.
feels too much. It's,
Yeah, back each other up.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let me take it over.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And
Or
that's
like-
what Silsa, they do a good job of like a couple of the board members will really kind of take on the event like as
Yeah.
the main people,
Yeah.
and then everybody
Yeah.
else helps them out.
That's cool.
And yeah, it's kind of nice. I usually just kind of help from a media perspective, but
Right.
so that gives everyone kind of a break.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where
But
they're
you
not,
guys
like,
all can lean
completely
into your
overwhelmed.
strengths, too.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
that helps a lot.
So no, I think it's cool. You guys started that. I think it's a great thing for the young professionals, new people coming to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, because man, it's even now. Like, I mean, I meet a lot of people, but also like a lot of people I meet. Like, I like meeting people that are like have an entrepreneurial side to them
Yes.
too, where they're like starting a business.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? Or they started their own business, or you know what I mean? It's just because I like to learn. I want to learn from
Yeah.
them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I mean, meeting any professional is great. I love talking to people about business in general
Right.
and things. But when you get to find somebody that started a business and really have like meaningful conversations with them and understand, especially if they've been around for a long
Right.
time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What you can get from that, from their challenges and things they faced. And
Yeah.
like the Stephanie Stuckey thing, when she talked about, like, it was super interesting to me about how her dad had to pivot like 2 different
Yeah.
major times. And
Yeah.
it was just interesting, the challenges. World
Right.
War, what was it, 2?
Yeah.
And friggin' the interstate system.
Yeah.
Like,
I
did you
never-
make it out to that?
No, I missed that
Yeah,
one. I'm
so-
so mad.
Yeah. I mean, basically, they did a 180 2 different times and had to. Yeah.
And it's crazy to you gotta be open minded to recognize that and change,
Right.
and
Yeah.
do it fast
Mhm.
in that
Yes,
situation.
that's the biggest piece, is being able to pivot quickly.
Right.
I feel like that's where some companies or groups are almost at a disadvantage because they're so big, getting so much buy-in. It's like you've got to move fast. And
Yeah.
be able
Right.
to
You
just,
almost
like,
have to
stick to your guns.
Yeah, you've got to accept the fact that you're always a little bit behind.
Yeah.
You're right. You're never at the cutting edge. So if you can just understand that, then and be open minded, then you can make
Yeah.
changes quickly.
And that's what's hard about our business. I mean, shit, social media is changing every day.
Yeah,
fast.
right.
AI.
AI. I mean, that's affecting everybody. But tools and platforms and releasing new options and new things, and it's it's tough to stay on top of. You gotta be open-minded.
And what you said about wanting to link up with people that have that entrepreneurial mindset or have started a business or whatever, what we see Rise doing at some point is the kind of connecting webs for other groups down the road where there's already a couple of them,
smaller groups if
they want to. So they're like, I know
we got 1.5 million bankers.
Yeah, we do have lots of bankers. And actually us younger bankers have talked about starting our own little coffee group where we get together once a quarter and just catch up on what's going on.
Talk about challenges, what's happening, changes.
Yeah.
Right. And I know, for example, we do have some entrepreneurs that have met each other through Rise that meet for coffee once a week. And, I know of one, but I'm sure there are other groups that either have started or will start here pretty soon. And I think that, if we could be a feeder program for that too, an organization for somebody to meet someone for the first time and then they start their own, little coffee club or golf league, whatever it is, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So if we can have more of that synergy with people that are really working on similar projects or working in similar industries, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just helps everybody out.
How do you find that? Like, what is your thoughts on like, you're meeting with people that are essentially competitors if you're all in the same industry?
It's tough.
How do you think about that?
It's tough.
It's kind of a weird thing, right?
Yeah,
what are we talking about? Like options or like, what are we going to do here? And
right.
then it's like, oh man, this person's got my idea now. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the nice thing about bankers is and you know this from interviewing some, there aren't a ton of ways to be super innovative. You can prove your knowledge and your worth to your customers pretty easily, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it's not it's the war stories that get you there, as opposed to, in my opinion, there's this new innovative thing that I have. Look, we have online banking. Everybody's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I've been able to look at my bank account on my phone for 15 years. Right. So you've really got to be able to prove your experience level and say, I've seen this happen in your industry. This is what I would do, to get ahead of it or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So because of that, it's a lot easier, in my opinion, for bankers to network with one another because there's not really a ton of ideas to steal from people. I mean, you could share those war stories and then they could go and say, well, I heard another banker say this, and I do some of that, and that's actually nice, and that's why we do network. Some of us is because we glean some of those stories from one another. So it's the same thing with mentors I've had in my career. Most of the time they're telling me stories, and that I'm going, oh yeah, this is what my boss said he did when he had this similar situation. So but that's been my experience, and luckily the ones here in town, the younger ones that I know, we all get along great. So it's good. It's good. I hope it stays that way because I don't know if the generation above us can say that. I don't know if they all get along or not.
Yeah, and I feel like it's gotten better, but I definitely used to feel like there was like in business when I was younger, it always felt like I don't know, like more competitive or something. Mm-hmm. Like there was more like I don't know if you want to say jealousy or like Does that? I don't know. I'm not thinking of the right word, but more like.
I think that, and I definitely don't want to, like, blame any like age groups or generations, but I feel like it used to be like you shouldn't befriend your competitors, and I just feel like our group is like, but there's so much to learn from them. We might do the exact same thing, but do it how many different ways?
Right.
Like, so what the executives at Nike, Under Armour, and OnCloud can't be friends because they all sell tennis shoes.
Right.
Like they all have very different brands of what they're doing and serving very different markets.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I love talking to competitors because I think there's such.
It's weird because you don't want to like you want to be able to have a good conversation, but you don't want to like.
Yeah. I mean, don't be like.
I don't want to give away any secrets.
Yeah.
But it's it's like how many secrets do you really got? I guess in the end, it's. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, most of the stuff, I mean, everything we do, I usually end up talking about like in a keynote or something anyway. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how we do it. That's
Right.
what we do.
Well,
Because
and
it's hard for people to go act.
Uh-huh.
Like I could teach people all day
You're right.
to make content.
Yep.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, we all freaking have phones in our
Yep.
pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I just quoted somebody the other day on teaching all their salespeople how to personally brand themselves.
Nice.
And like be better salespeople through
Yeah.
social media. And I was like, part of me was like, should I do this? You know what I mean? It was like, but in the end, I was like, in the end, like these people have to go do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that do it.
Right.
Like they're not going to take the time.
Uh-huh.
And it was like going to the independent insurance agents thing. Like, sure, there was several people that came up to me and they were like, man, you really motivated me to make some content and go
Yep.
do stuff and
Yeah.
everything. If they actually did it, I don't know. But there were also several people that came up to me that were pretty much like, we don't want to do this ourselves. Can you do this for us?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yep, that makes
so,
Well, in 6 months from now, what you said, it could be out of date too.
Exactly,
Like that
for
that
sure.
space moves so fast.
Mhm.
So it's might as well share it.
Yeah.
Because that way you're staying more relevant to them. They're like, man, this guy's giving me all this stuff for free.
Mhm.
Like, if I paid him to help me out with this, what would that do for my
Right.
business?
Yeah.
That's the conversations I have with people a lot.
Mhm.
I probably give up way too much. Sorry, LRS. But
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, though, for sure. It's a weird thing.
yeah.
Well, so next Rise event, one more time.
Well, the volunteer event starts June 29th, so June
Yep.
29th weekend.
What's the best
next-
way to sign up to do that?
So you can go on to the Memorial Health Championship website or our website. We should have a link up there.
Yep.
So folks can follow that, and it's very, very easy to sign up.
Do you just volunteer through Memorial and then just...
They'll just get
you guys
assigned to
or-
our tent. So
Okay.
on
Yep.
our website, which is gscc.org/rise, that's our webpage on the chamber site.
Right.
We have all of our events listed.
Cool.
And so you'll be able to sign up for the volunteer event there. And then the next official just Rise only event is going to be July 12th at Brant.
Yep.
And that's 7:30 to 8:45
Yep.
in the
So
morning.
folks want to volunteer, or they want to come out and just network and learn from Tess Fialka. We've got both of those things
Yeah.
coming
She's
up.
great.
Yep.
Yeah.
After the Silsa event, I came back here and had everybody that didn't make it do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we just all sat around at the conference room and talked about it.
That's
Went
cool.
through our
I love that
our
idea.
saboteurs, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saboteurs.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so interesting to see how other people's brains work.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if they're on your
Super
team.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's
And I didn't even take the test at the thing. I didn't even know that it was going to be part of it. I
Yeah.
saw it up there, but I didn't know it was going to be part of it. I was like, damn, I wish I would have known. And then I did it afterwards. I think when we were sitting there, like when she was talking about him, and it like was pretty much everything I thought. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
well, I guess I know myself.
yeah,
pretty damn
that's good.
My
Um,
favorite thing about that whole presentation was Josh,
Oh
your
yeah.
COO. Just him talking about
That was
what is
funny.
the name of his saboteur?
It was the overthinker, I think, or
Okay.
something.
Oh, like
Is that what it
overthinker,
was?
worrier.
Overthinker, something like.
It was something like that.
Pepper-cheeker?
No,
No,
it
that's
was,
what the
yeah, no, it was
worrier.
it was something about like
It was like a worrier or
yeah, worrier or yeah, it was something
I
like
think
that.
worrier.
Yeah. It's like, am I going to do this? Am I going to get hit by a
Yes.
car right now?
Exactly. Just
Oh.
talking about how he goes to work in the morning and it's like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, if I'm going to be late, like, am I going to get hit by a car?
Hyper
That's
vigilant.
what it was. But it's like, that is so not how my brain was wired. And he was talking, I didn't even know this, like that I audibly said this, but I was like, that's exhausting. And he heard me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fantastic. Cause I'm like, I never thought that someone's brain would work that way. It was cool to go around the room though and learn how all of those like inner critics operate.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited that
That's
she's going to
cool.
talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that at ours.
Yeah,
'cause
I am too.
you just get to learn a little bit more about
Yeah,
yourself.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and we kind of did it to just try to better understand each other.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, no, that'll be a great event. Definitely anybody that wants to go out to that, they should, because that was a fun thing to do. It'll be interesting to see. You said she's going to do a version of it. Is she just trying to
Just
do
a shortened version.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it was kind of a long
Yeah. Right.
thing she did. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. You guys started it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think
Thank
it's
you.
something good for the community. And
Yeah, thanks for letting us share it on your platform, man.
Oh,
Yeah, we
man,
appreciate
of course.
it.
I'm excited to try to help spread the word and Yeah, I just, from when I was trying to go out and network and stuff,
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing. And it's funny because for years I thought about trying to start something and I didn't know what it was, but it was something along those lines.
Right.
And I was just, it's like,
Yeah.
man, it's going to be a lot to take on. I'm really busy right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm glad you guys did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's just timing.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
all it is.
And
then-
finding the right people.
Yeah.
right.
do it with.
Yeah, and we're well aware that at some point we're not going to have enough time for it either. It's sad to say because we love it and we've had so much fun getting it started. But that's
But then
that's-
maybe
Yeah.
some people that are members want to step up and
Dude,
take it on.
we
Yeah.
we definitely think that will happen very naturally and it won't be an issue. So it'll be something we're kind of always focused on. So
Once you age out, you just wait for
yeah, exactly.
We're not young enough
exactly.
to move.
Right. Yeah.
The day you turn 40, you're out.
Yeah.
though.
Right. Yep. You get the boot. See you later.
Yep.
social media.
Yeah. So LinkedIn's probably the easiest one to follow us on. Facebook too.
Just Rise.
Rise Springfield.
Yep.
Rise
Rise
Springfield.
Springfield. Wow,
Yep.
I couldn't say that.
All right, Rise
Yeah.
Springfield.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything else we're missing that we need to throw
No.
out there?
No, we're
I
good,
think we
man.
covered a lot.
We're good. I think
Good.
so.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody.